Well, I thought that I'd maybe tell you a little story about what happened to me. I'm 68 years old now, and this happened when I was 19, and kind of, in a way, ruined my life in some ways, made my life very difficult. I took LSD occasionally in the 60s, and I had come to a point where I was up at the university, and I took some LSD with a friend of mine, what I thought was LSD, but I found that there was some kind of a poison in it. And I ended up lying in what they called the transportation center, which is where I could get communication to get an ambulance. I ended up lying on the floor, and I literally couldn't move. I couldn't lift my arms. I couldn't do anything. I'd never felt that empty of energy. What I experienced was that it was like someone had put golden anklets on my ankles and then just drained me of all my energy, like drained all my energy into a big battery somewhere or something like that. And I had no energy at all, and I simply could not sit up or anything. So finally the ambulance guys got there, took me to the hospital and so on, and I had a near-death experience and things like that. But subsequently to this, I had very little energy at all in my life. I would get up in the morning, and it was hard for me to concentrate on things. I didn't have enough physical energy. Sometimes I was able to get through that, and other times not. But eventually, a couple of years ago, I found energy enhancement. And what that has done is given me my energy back. So now I can do all sorts of things that I wasn't capable of doing before, or that sometimes I thought, well, maybe everybody has this much trouble getting anything done. They have no energy and it's difficult. But then I saw that wasn't true. That even I was in good physical condition, I looked after myself, I exercised and all that stuff, I ate proper foods, but that didn't seem to help me much. And other people who didn't look after themselves and were in terrible condition and so on, they seemed to have a lot more energy than me. So by doing energy enhancement, meditation, I've gradually rebuilt the energy that I didn't have all those years. And so I don't have the up and downs that I was having then. And I'm going farther than I was then. So I just would like to recommend to anybody who would like to improve their level of energy and their level of being in touch with the universe around them, being able to get the things done they want to get done, to try energy enhancement.
Hello everybody. Solar, what is your explanation of these golden anklets? Are they fur-lined and pink?
Hardly. I don't even know if they were gold, but I just knew they were highly conductive, and they sucked all of the energy out of my body. And at this point now, having worked through them, I've identified that there was a black magician, a being that has an ability to suck that energy out of me and use it for itself.
And how do you know that? I mean, have you actually seen this in your energy enhancement meditations?
Yeah, I have.
Well,
I've seen
tell
it.
me more about it. Come
Well,
on, wax eloquent.
Well, I've seen a number of them, and the one that did this was all black and red and had a sort of a fancy outfit on, but I had a sense that he was in charge of a whole network of evil beings that were going around and basically acting like vampires, just sucking people's energy out and using it for themselves. And yet most people that are having the energy sucked out of them don't know that, because it's not at the level that they took from me, which they were trying to kill me, I believe. But they just take out maybe 20% of their energy or whatever, and those people just feel a little tired or a little unable to, a little muddled mentally, but they are able to use all of that energy for themselves.
So what do you think about me talking to you and other people about one of our students who knows the king of the shaman out in Ecuador? And this guy was talking to our student about how all the shaman in the world are being invited to conferences and jetted in by the Rothschilds. And we've read Carlos Castaneda, we've read about Don Juan, we've read that the whole of the history of Don Juan and Carlos Castaneda comes from a black magic sorcerer tradition. And talking to my student, we know that all the shaman in the world come from the sorcerer black magic traditions, whereby you live, you gain energy, you live forever by draining the energy out of other human beings. In a way, human beings are the cattle of these shamans. And when you go to partake of ayahuasca, when you go to partake of peyote, when you go to partake of the rituals of these shamans, these very nice guys, then sometimes these guys will implant you with energy blockages. Psychically, they will put gold handcuffs around your ankles and they will drain the energy out of you. And you've just been talking about your experiences of being drained 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And all the problems that you've had in your life of just not having sufficient energy to do the work that you wanted to do. And how you understood that you had less energy than other people. When you start taking ayahuasca, when you start taking LSD, and of course LSD was weaponized by the CIA, and it was spread out to the hippie children of Los Angeles and California back in the 1960s with the hippies. The whole idea of this was the degeneration of society, in exactly the same way that the British shipped over opium using Jardine Matheson, big lord in England, or the Keswick family, big lords in England, into Hong Kong and spreading it out throughout China. Spreading opium from India into Hong Kong, into China, and the Chinese emperor said, "We're not having any of these drugs coming into China. It's degenerating the Chinese people." And the British said, "Free trade," they said. They said, "Free trade. You can't stop us selling opium in China because we need free trade." They said, "If you try to stop us, we're going to war." And that was the start of the Opium Wars in China. And the British and the French and all the other colonial powers who wanted to degenerate China so they could take it over, they won the Chinese Opium Wars. They continued to bring opium into China. They succeeded in degenerating it, and because of these wars, they got gifted Hong Kong, which was the center of the drug trade in the whole of Southeast Asia. Because the Rothschilds, inviting all the shaman to conferences, the big lords of England, all these guys are coming from the same sorcerer tradition. For thousands of years, the dragon kings of Troy have been infiltrating Europe. And in catacombs beneath Rome, in the tunnels beneath Rome, in the tunnels, in the underground temples and grottos beneath Paris. Paris was the prince of Troy, the dragon kings of Troy came into Paris, and underneath Notre Dame Cathedral, they created a satanic temple. And of course, Satanism, I mean, the whole idea of Satanism is torture, human sacrifice, blood drinking, cannibalism. But the main aim is to drain the energy out of the victims. And this is what we're talking about today, because this is going on to every member of humanity. They're all trying to infiltrate you and implant you with golden handcuffs and drain the energy out of you. If you have psychic vision, if you do the only thing which can protect you against something you cannot see, if you learn how to meditate, if you learn how to remove these implant energy blockages, if you learn how to contact the energies of the universe and bring them into you so that you've got more energy, then you can awaken your psychic vision. You can see. And what do you see when you see? Lawrence? You see black magicians.
You see black magicians, you see other creatures, even demons at times. Things that are interrelated to they all seem to have some interrelationship, and they all seem to have it's a hierarchical system. There are other beings preying on these ones, or at least in charge of them, who get some kind of I guess you could call it a tithe of the energy that these people suck off. But the only way to stop this from happening is for you to have enough energetic, spiritual energy to stop these invasions of yourself and to get rid of the ones that you've already acquired. That's what you need to do.
Is that it for today?
Yeah, I think it is.
I think that was pretty good.
Yeah,
We did well, didn't we?
edited.
Okay, press the button.